Is golf really for you a way to get away from quote unquote it all, whatever that means?
Absolutely. It's two things for me. One, it's a way to get away from kind of all responsibilities and just have a minute to, it's like probably why some people like to climb mountains. It's solitary and it's extremely difficult. People who don't play golf think golf is easy. They're so wrong. It's so hard, and every part of it, it's one of the only things I've ever done where you have to almost focus just entirely on that. Ellie always comes home and says, when I come home from golf and play with friends, she said, well, what'd y'all talk about? And I said, golf.
I know it.
We talked about our swing. We talked about our putts. We talked about the rough. We talked about the group in front of us and that guy's swing and how bad it was. We talked about how you crushed that ball down the right side of the fairway. We talked about which wedge to use from 90 yards out. We talked about the last time we played golf. We talked about the next time we played golf. That's what we talked about. She's like, well, how's he doing? Is he still dating that girl? I don't know.
It's so true.
So it's this like all-consuming 4 hours that you spend just trying to conquer this thing. And then I really did the camaraderie. I think, C.S. Lewis is a great author, and he talks about this book called The Four Loves, and the phileo love is the love of a friend. And he talks about men, and this is probably true with women too, but I don't know because I'm not one. But in my experience with guys, friendship has to have a medium. Like that medium could be golf, it could be whiskey, it could be sports, it could be
right.
And you can find, not that you can only and you can find a lot of meaningful connection, but you have to start with the medium so that you have somewhere to connect. And I love that about golf. Like, we just go out there and have a good time. And sometimes, you talk with guys, certain guys. Once you get to be close enough friends with them, you can talk about non-golf things while you're playing. But you got to know a guy's rhythm and the way he plays, so you're not messing him up, asking him about.
Right.
I have one friend, who's another artist, and we play. And we actually talk business a lot, And it's like he's like the only. We're like some of the only people that we trust each other to talk about the music business, because we know neither one of us wants anything from the other one.
Right.
Right. And so, anyways, yeah, I think it's just it's got a lot of positive aspects about it, and then too, I just think it's an easy way to get outside, and do something a little bit athletic, and it's also too, I think every time you make a birdie, you think, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna play on the Champions Tour,
Why not?
which is totally not gonna happen. But just I think it's I have fond memories of, I played golf with my grandfather at this 9-hole course by his house called Galloway. It's kind of a pretty crummy muni, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Not Galloway, sorry. It's called Overton Park.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just it's a great way to have camaraderie and also have some solitude all at the same time. And I've gotten to the point too where I don't get too frustrated with my game unless I just do something really stupid, like duff a chip or 4-putt.
Yeah, well, and those things happen, and for the most part, just laugh about them afterwards, right? Because that's about all you can do otherwise. Because I don't want to put so much. I don't want to invest so much into the game that I don't love it when I'm 70 and 80.
Yeah. My grandfather played till he was 82.
Yeah. I want to shoot my age up there.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Actually, I want to shoot my age when I get to the 60s.
He actually did that at Oakland Hills.
Did he?
When he was 78.
Oh wow! What a great track to do that on, huh?
Yeah.
He must have been a good golfer.
He was great. He actually, his claim to fame, and it's his true story, was in 1942, or 1940, somewhere in there. As a senior in high school, he beat Kerry Middlecoff in the city championship in a playoff. Kerry Middlecoff went on to win multiple U.S. Opens, a Masters, and captain the Ryder Cup team. And so he was real good. He played college golf, and then he was the guy who always won the member guest, at his country club. back in the day.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago.
Well, something flowing through the blood, obviously. The Holcomb blood.
He was also kind of a cheater, so.
Whoa.
Yeah, not like bad, but just like he would kick his ball a little bit, give it a better.
What are those?
Or if he kind of bully his way into getting gimmies from the guys he was playing with. He'd be like a 4-footer, and he'd be like, "Oh, son, just throw me that. That's good." And they'd be like, "Old man's taking advantage of us."
Honestly, I know this is going to sound stupid, and I've never said this out loud. Is when I decided to play the ball down, I felt like I was a better man. And I mean in general, right? Because that means living your life, in my head, it means living your life to the point of, I'll take what I get, and I'll make the best of it. So,
yeah.
Unless there's something, really muddy around there, and, it's a really wet day or something, just play the ball down. And I let everybody else move theirs around because they want to, because and they feel better about it, and they have more fun that way too. So why fight that?
Yeah.
So, just who I am.
Bear from Need to Breathe and I were playing once, and somebody who we were playing with, at the exact same time, we'd hit our ball both in this kind of wettish area. That the guy was like, "Oh man, just pull it back some." And Bear just looked at him and he goes, "Hey man, we may suck, but we don't cheat."
Right.
I'd rather suck than be a cheater.
It's so funny. Here's the interesting thing that I'll leave you, that we got to say goodbye on, because we're going to yap all day about golf. This is just like golfing, isn't it? It's like we're actually golfing right now without hitting balls.
Nice drive.
But I asked Alice Cooper, and this is like a 10 years ago interview, because he was a major golfer addict, And he said, I think you can tell. You go golfing with somebody, you can actually tell what type of person they are, right? And he went into that, move your ball around and cheat and all that kind of stuff. And I went, wow, that's interesting. Well, anyway, not me playing with Alice, but another couple record industry guys were playing with him, and hits it into the bunker on a par 3. Takes him 4 to get out, 3 putts, right? So you're at 8, right? And he takes a 5. And they're just like, what is going on, right? So the only way we can write it down is he was just going to his handicap because he couldn't take more than a double.
Right.
So I figure that, but the dude had 8. At least right on the scorecard. I mean, when you turn in your score, if you're keeping a handicap, it pulls it down to a 5 anyway. Because I think he was a pretty serious. I mean, he was a low handicap player, so.
Yeah.
I mean, he was single digits, but anyway.
The worst though is when somebody drops that on you when you're in competition and they scorecard themselves handicap.
Mm.
Like that happened with a friend. They were beating this guy for the first time, and he got an 8 on a par 4, and he's like, "Well, I can only get a 6, so it's a 6." And they were like, "Dude, we're beating and they needed him to count those strokes to help them continue to beat him." Anyways.
I love that, and I love this time, man. I'm just happy you took time to do it and yak about it, and
my pleasure.
Go forth with your bag wrapped over your shoulder and hit a good 7-iron straight into the green and be on in regulation, right?
from 220 like your son. That'll never happen. I'm still 3-iron at 220.
We need to be at a hole where it's downhill in Colorado or something like that.
With a big wind, yeah.
Have you played in Colorado, where the ball supposedly flies further?
I've played one time at the Broadmoor
in
Colorado Springs, which is where they have the U.S. Women's Open. It's really, really cool, like resort style course.
And did you actually find more distance?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Really?
At the time, I wasn't hitting the ball very straight, so it was kind of hard to know. Yeah. But
you found more distance way over there.
Way over there. I did have at that course we were playing like the Blues or something, and I did have. I hit a par 5 green in 2. So I guess the distance was, which isn't normal for me, So it was probably 500 yards. So I probably was 270 and hit 230, and
wow, yeah, right,
made it pretty good. But then I 4-putted.
Nice. Well, you pulled a bogey out, so nice.
Yeah.